You see, there's a truth woven into the fabric of existence, a truth that whispers to the soul of every man and woman. It's the truth of knowing the one who shaped the heavens, who breathed life into the dust, and who carved the rivers into the earth. When you truly know this Creator, when you seek to understand the infinite love that crafted your very being, something remarkable happens. Peace, my friends, is not the absence of struggle. It's not the silence of a still night or the calm after a storm. Peace is the anchor of the soul, a quiet assurance that holds you steady when the winds howl and the seas rage. And that peace doesn't come from the world. It doesn't come from what you own, where you live, or even from those who surround you. It comes from above. Knowing God is not about memorizing scriptures or following rituals. It's about relationship, walking hand in hand with the one who knows every hair on your head, who sees every tear you shed, and who carries your burdens when they're too heavy to bear. It's about opening your heart, your mind, your spirit, and letting the divine fill the spaces where fear once lived. And when you know Him, truly know Him, fear loses its grip. The questions, the doubts, the what-ifs, they don't vanish, but they no longer control you. Because when you know God, you understand that you are not alone. You're never alone. There's a presence that walks with you through every valley and rejoices with you on every mountaintop. Peace is the fruit of trust. Trust in the one who is constant when everything else shifts. Trust in the one whose promises never fail, whose light never fades, and whose love never ends. And when you lean into that trust, you find a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that guards your heart and mind no matter what comes your way. So if you seek peace, seek first to know the one who is the source of it. Let your heart be still, your spirit open, and your ears attuned to the gentle voice that calls you by name. For to know Him is to know a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. The truth is something we often search for in the noise of the world, in books and conversations, in the ever-turning wheel of time. But truth, the kind that settles deep in your soul, isn't something you find out there. It's something revealed, something that comes when you open your heart to the one who made it beat in the first place. When you begin to know God, you don't just gain knowledge, you gain clarity. The fog of confusion starts to lift, and you see things as they are, not as they appear. You understand that the mountains aren't obstacles, they're pathways to growth. The storms aren't punishments, they're lessons in resilience. The Creator doesn't just show you truth, He is truth. Every word, every promise, every act is a thread in the fabric of eternity, woven together to bring meaning to a world that often feels chaotic. To know this truth isn't just to believe, it's to see. You see the divine fingerprints on your life, on every person you meet, on every blade of grass that sways in the wind. And with that vision comes a kind of peace that only the truth can bring. A peace that whispers, you're here for a reason, you're known, you're loved. That's the power of knowing God. It's the key to unlocking the truth that sets your soul free. Peace is something the world speaks of often but understands so little. It's not a fleeting feeling or a momentary silence in the chaos. No, true peace is something far deeper. It's not about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you. When you know the source of all things, peace becomes your foundation. It steadies you when the ground beneath your feet feels like it's crumbling. It quiets the voices of doubt and fear that echo in your mind. This peace doesn't depend on circumstances or conditions, it's there even in the darkest nights, even when the storms rage. You see, this peace isn't something you create or earn. It's something that takes root in you when you open yourself to the divine. It's the assurance that you're held, even when everything seems to be falling apart. It's the calm that comes when you realize you don't have to control everything because you're connected to the one who does. It's not the absence of problems. No, life will still challenge you, still test you. But this peace, it transforms how you face those challenges. It gives you a strength that doesn't falter and a calm that doesn't waver. When you carry that peace within, No storm can shake you, and no battle can break you. It becomes your light in the darkest times, your compass in the most uncertain moments. And that kind of peace, my friend, is worth everything. Peace is not something you find by chasing the quiet or escaping the noise. It doesn't live in the stillness of the world around you, it lives within. True peace, the kind that holds firm when everything else is trembling, is not about avoiding storms, it's about standing in them with an unshakable calm. This peace isn't a gift of the world doesn't know how to give it. The world offers moments of ease, fleeting comforts that vanish as quickly as they come. But the peace we're talking about doesn't depend on the world's chaos or calm. It comes from a source higher, deeper, and far greater than anything this life can offer. When you draw near to the divine, peace begins to take root. It doesn't promise to change your circumstances, it promises to change you. To quiet the turmoil within, even when the winds howl outside. It's a reassurance that whispers, you're not walking this path alone. And once you feel that, you can face anything. This peace steadies your heart and clears your mind. It's not about forgetting the struggles, it's about finding the strength to rise above them. It becomes a shield, a sanctuary, a source of strength that the world can't shake, no matter how hard it tries. That, my friend, is the kind of peace that only comes from above. Peace isn't something you can manufacture, no matter how hard you try. You can't buy it, you can't earn it, and you can't find it in the things the world offers. It comes from a source far greater than this world, a place beyond what our eyes can see and our hands can touch. This peace isn't tied to wealth, success, or even the love of others. Those things, as good as they can be, are temporary. They come and go, changing with the seasons of life. But the peace that comes from above is constant. It doesn't shift with your circumstances or vanish when the storms come. It's unchanging because it flows from the one who never changes. It's a peace that fills the empty spaces inside you, the ones nothing else could ever quite reach. It whispers to the deepest parts of your being that you are seen, that you are loved, and that you are held in hands far stronger than your own. It's not just a feeling, it's a foundation. A rock to stand on when everything else feels like it's crumbling beneath your feet. This peace doesn't mean life will be easy or free from pain. It means that no matter what you face, you'll face it with the assurance that you are never alone. It means knowing there's a plan, even when you don't understand it, and trusting that the one who holds the universe holds you too. That's the kind of peace the world can't give, and the kind it can't take away. Knowing is more than just understanding, it's an experience, a connection that changes everything. It's not about following rituals or checking off lists. It's about opening your heart to something greater. To truly know God is to walk with Him, to feel His presence in your life not as a distant idea, but as a constant companion. It's not about rules, it's about relationship. The kind of relationship where you can bring your questions, your fears, your joys, and your sorrows. A connection where you don't have to pretend to have it all together because He already knows you, every part of you, even the parts you'd rather hide. And still you are loved. This relationship isn't built on performance. It's not about doing everything right or being perfect. It's about trust, surrender, and intimacy. It's about letting go of the need to control and allowing the divine to lead. It's about learning to listen to the whispers in your heart, to the quiet nudges, to the still, small voice that guides you when the world's noise gets too loud. When you lean into that relationship, you discover a love so deep, so unconditional, it transforms you. It shifts the way you see the world and yourself. You realize you're not just wandering through life, you're walking hand in hand with the one who knows every step of the journey. That kind of relationship, it's not just life-changing, it's soul-changing. There's a kind of presence that words can barely capture. It's not loud or showy, it doesn't demand attention. But it's there, steady and unshakable. It's the kind of presence that walks beside you in the darkest valleys and celebrates with you on the highest peaks. It's the assurance that no matter where you go, you're never alone. This presence isn't fleeting or conditional. It doesn't come and go based on how you feel or what you've done. It's constant, like the sun behind the clouds, always there even when you can't see it. There's comfort in that, a deep, unshakable comfort. It's the kind of reassurance that gives you the strength to take one more step when you feel like you can't go on. And this presence, it's personal. It doesn't just hover around, it dwells within. It knows you by name, knows your thoughts before you think them, your needs before you speak them. It's not just a force or an idea, it's a connection. In the relationship, it wraps you in love that doesn't waver, no matter how far you stray or how often you stumble. When you understand this, when you truly embrace it, fear starts to lose its power. The unknown becomes less daunting because you're not facing it alone. The trials of life don't feel as overwhelming because you know there's someone greater walking through them with you. It's a presence that carries you when you can't carry yourself, a light that guides you when the path ahead is dark. This presence is the foundation of everything: strength in weakness, hope in despair, and peace in the chaos. It's the reminder that you're held no matter what. And when you realize that, when you feel it in the depths of your being, there's nothing in this life that can truly shake you. Fear is a powerful thing. It creeps in during the quiet moments, lingers in the shadows of doubt, and whispers lies that paralyze the soul. It feeds on uncertainty, thrives on what we can't control, and grows stronger the more we try to face it alone. But fear, as strong as it feels, loses its grip when you truly know the one who walks with you. When you draw close to God, fear starts to unravel. Not because life suddenly becomes easy or predictable, but because you're no longer facing it by yourself. You begin to understand that you're held by hands far stronger than your own, hands that form the stars and hold the oceans in place. And when you trust in those hands, fear has no choice but to loosen its hold. This isn't about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that it doesn't have the final word. Fear may still knock on your door, but it won't find a home in your heart. Because now your heart is filled with something greater in assurance, a confidence, a peace that surpasses understanding. When you know God, you begin to see that even in the unknown, you're never alone. Even in the trials, there's a purpose. Fear loses its power because you've placed your trust not in the temporary, but in the eternal. And that trust, it's a shield, a fortress, a refuge in the storm. Fear is loud, but the voice of God is louder. It speaks words of comfort, strength, and love. It reminds you that no matter what comes, you are seen, you are known, and you are never forsaken. And in that truth, fear fades away, leaving room for courage, hope, and a peace that nothing can take from you. Trust is a sacred thing. It's not given lightly, and once broken, it's hard to repair. But when it's placed in the right hands, trust can change everything. Trusting God isn't about knowing all the answers or having a perfect understanding of the plan. It's about believing in the one who holds the plan, even when you can't see it. This trust doesn't mean life becomes simple or free from pain. Far from it. But it means that in the complexity, in the struggle, there's a foundation beneath you that will not crumble. Trust in God is like leaning into a strength far greater than your own. It's stepping out in faith, not because you see the whole path, but because you know the one who leads you. When you trust God, you begin to let go of the things that weigh you down: worry, control, the fear of what's to come. You start to rest in the knowledge that you don't have to have it all figured out, because He does. It's not about blind faith, it's about a relationship built on the evidence of His faithfulness time and time again. This kind of trust brings peace, the kind that doesn't waver when life shakes you. It's a steadying force, a calm in the chaos. It teaches you to lean in, to surrender, to find your strength not in yourself, but in the one who is unchanging and unshakable. Trusting God doesn't mean the storms stop, it means you're no longer afraid of them. It doesn't mean the path is always clear. It means you're willing to take the next step, even when it's not. And in that trust, you find a freedom and a peace that nothing in this world can offer. Trust becomes your anchor, and through it, you discover the power of letting go and letting him lead. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, when you don't know which way to turn or what to do next. In those moments, there's a deep, underlying truth that often goes unnoticed. You are never alone. No matter where you are, no matter how distant or lost you might feel, there's something, or rather, someone holding you, watching over you, guiding you. It's a presence that goes beyond what we can understand, beyond what we can see with our eyes. It's a constant companion in your journey, even when the world feels like it's closing in. And it's not just that this presence is there for you in your moments of joy or success, but in your struggles, your heart attacks, your doubts. It's there to lift you when you can't lift yourself, to show you the way when the road ahead is unclear. Knowing that you're seen, knowing that you're cared for, changes everything. It's not that life becomes any less challenging, but suddenly you're facing those challenges with a sense of peace, with a confidence that doesn't come from within yourself, but from the one who knows you better than you know yourself. You start to understand that your worth is not based on what you've achieved or what others think of you. It's in the fact that you are loved, deeply and unconditionally, by the one who created you. This love doesn't require you to earn it. It's given freely, without condition, without expectation. And once you begin to understand that love, once you allow it to fill the empty spaces inside you, you realize something profound. You no longer need to search for fulfillment in the things the world offers. You've already been filled, not with fleeting satisfaction, but with a peace that transcends all understanding. And with that peace comes strength. Strength not in your own abilities, but in the knowledge that you are held by a love that never wavers, a presence that never leaves. This strength gives you courage to face the unknown, to stand tall in the face of fear, and to keep going even when the path is unclear. You begin to see that nothing is truly out of your control when you know you are held by something far greater. You find your purpose, your direction, not by following the world's standards, but by listening to that still, small voice that speaks within. You trust in the plan that's greater than your understanding, knowing that each step, no matter how uncertain, is leading you somewhere meaningful. And in that trust, fear fades. It doesn't disappear entirely, but it no longer rules you. It no longer dictates your decisions, your thoughts, or your heart. You are free not because life is perfect, but because you know that you're not alone. You know that the one who began this work in you will see it through to completion. And that, my friend, is a peace that no storm, no challenge, and no fear can ever take away. There are certain truths that, when you begin to understand them, change everything. One of the most profound is that peace, real peace, is not something that can be explained away with words or found in fleeting moments of comfort. It's a gift that goes beyond understanding, something so deep that it anchors you in the midst of turmoil. It's not just the absence of noise or conflict, it's the quiet assurance that all will be well, no matter what comes your way. This peace isn't something you can control, something you can simply reach for when you need it. It doesn't come from the world, with all its distractions and temporary pleasures. It doesn't come from what you have or don't have, or from who you are in the eyes of others. It comes from knowing that, in the end, there is a purpose, a greater design that holds all things together. And when you begin to understand this, when you start to live in this peace, you realize that it transcends everything you thought you knew about life. The things that once seemed so important, money, status, power, lose their grip on you. You begin to see them for what they are: fleeting, transient. And in the light of that truth, everything else fades. But even more than that, you start to see that peace is not just a state of mind, it's a way of being. It's not about seeking peace only in moments of calm, but about embodying it in every moment of your life. Even in the midst of chaos, peace can be present. Even in the midst of pain, it can settle in your heart, like a deep, comforting presence that assures you that everything will eventually be as it should. This peace doesn't mean that challenges won't come. It doesn't mean that you won't feel fear or doubt or uncertainty. But it means that those things no longer have the power to control you. They may come, but they don't get to stay. You're no longer held captive by them, because you know that there's something far greater than your circumstances, a peace that cannot be shaken. When you know God and you begin to rest in the peace He offers, you come to understand that everything is working together for a reason. Even in the pain, even in the struggles, there is something being shaped inside you. Something that will lead you to a place of understanding you could never have reached otherwise. It's the kind of peace that doesn't just carry you through the storm, it allows you to stand in the midst of it without being broken. And as you live in this peace, you start to recognize that it's not just for you. It's for the world around you too. It's the kind of peace that touches others, that calms their fears, that gives them the strength to carry on. It's a ripple that spreads, a light that shines even brighter when the world seems dark. This peace, this deep, unshakable peace, is the kind of gift that only the divine can give. It's not something that can be taken from you, because it's not built on anything that can be lost. It's built on something eternal, something that will never fade. And once you understand this peace, once you rest in it, it becomes the very foundation of everything you do. Peace, the kind that truly changes lives, is not something that can be chased or grasped. It's not something you go looking for in the way you would search for an object in your home. No, this peace is born from knowing, deep in your soul, that you are not walking this journey alone. It's the deep assurance that no matter what the world throws at you, you are held, you are seen, and you are loved. This peace does not come from the fleeting things that the world offers, money, success, or recognition. These things are like a candle in the wind. They can light the way for a moment, but they are gone in the blink of an eye. Real peace, the kind that holds you steady when everything around you seems to be falling apart, comes from something far greater, something that transcends the chaos of life. When you begin to understand that peace, you begin to see the world differently. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable, not because they have changed, but because your perspective has. The storms of life no longer feel like they will consume you, because you know that, even in the fiercest winds, you have something within you that cannot be moved. This peace isn't the absence of difficulty, it's the strength to endure it with grace. It's not just an intellectual understanding, it's a lived experience. Peace doesn't reside in empty words or rituals. It's something that takes root in your heart when you open yourself to the presence of the divine, when you make space for it in your life. It's a peace that flows through you, that shapes every part of your being, and becomes the filter through which you see the world. This peace makes room for trust. When you know that you are held by something far greater than yourself, you can let go of the need to control everything. You no longer feel the need to figure everything out, because you understand that there is a plan, even if you can't see the full picture. You learn to trust the one who holds the future, and in that trust you find a peace that nothing can shake. It's a peace that quiets the mind. When the world is full of noise, of endless distractions, of worries that never seem to cease, this peace is the stillness in the storm. It's the calm that allows you to hear your own thoughts, to reconnect with your purpose, to breathe again. It's not just the absence of worry, it's the presence of something so much stronger. In that peace, fear begins to fade. Fear may still try to knock on your door, but it no longer has the power to control you. The fears of tomorrow, the anxieties about the unknown, they lose their grip on you because you know that you are protected, that you are being led, that you are not left to wander in the dark. This peace doesn't promise that life will be easy, or that you will never face hardship. It simply promises that you will never face it alone. It's the reassurance that no matter how high the mountains or how deep the valleys, there is something unwavering beneath you, something unmovable that will carry you through. This peace is like a lighthouse standing firm in the storm, guiding you back to safety. And as you come to know this peace, it transforms you. You begin to live differently. You stop searching for fulfillment in things that will never satisfy. You stop striving for things that don't truly matter, and instead you start living with a sense of purpose that comes from knowing that you are part of something much greater than yourself. This peace is the anchor in the midst of the world's turmoil. It's the calm that allows you to stand firm, to be a light in the darkness, to offer hope when others are drowning in despair. And when you carry this peace with you, you become a reflection of it, a testament to the power of knowing that, no matter what, you are never truly alone.